It's good, but not that good. It's upper class, but not as upper class as we expected. Is it business class? Is it first class? Does Virgin Atlantic's upper class have an identity crisis? Stay with us for an insightful and brutally honest review. Welcome aboard Virgin Atlantic's Mystery Girl, a beautiful Boeing 787-9, or as the Boeing marketing guff gurus will have you gush, a Dreamliner. The Dreamliner is actually our favourite long-haul airplane, and we've had many a happy flight in this modern, composite-skinned, flexible-winged aeronautical marvel. We've covered Virgin's other cabin classes on their 787-9s, so for reviews of economy delight and premium economy, please watch the links at the end to complete your Virgin Atlantic Dreamliner cabin class knowledge. So sit back, or lay back if you're watching this from upper class, and enjoy this review. And we come highly recommended too. And no, that's not photoshopped, he really did tweet that. Oh, and watch till the end where we'll reveal how much this cost, and the answer may surprise you. Let's go! In all our long years of flying, we're no spring chickens, we've never turned left when boarding an aircraft cabin. So you can imagine our excitement and anticipation here. We envisaged wafting in and leisurely locating our seat like entering a private box at an opera. But no, we got held up like we would in economy. The upper class area itself includes this bar, which is not a patch on the bar we experienced on the Emirates A380 business class a few years ago. This one was self-service, and for the majority of our night flight there wasn't much to tempt you there. It just looked a bit solemn really, despite the funky Virgin purple and red mood lighting of course. Past the bar and into the cabin itself and you'll discover quite a unique cabin layout in the world of super expensive flying. Each seat is angled in a chevron configuration, and to my orderly eyes it all looks a bit haphazard. It's a 1-1-1 layout, and it lacks privacy in many respects. Firstly, if you're on the left-hand side, you have the backs of the middle seats facing you, which gives you much more privacy than on the right-hand side, where you end up facing each other, which is annoying after a while because you're always catching someone's face out of the corner of your eye. I'm sure they don't want to look at me either. Also, the partitions between seats are not high enough, so you risk the person next door peering over at you. In our opinion, lack of privacy is a huge issue at upper class prices. There's lots of storage space for your carry-ons above your head, but as for the seats itself, well, I'll come on to that in a minute. Perhaps we should take some time out from me moaning and watch these delicious-looking glossy red Rolls-Royce Trent 1000s lift us smoothly and confidently into the Seattle sky. There's no doubt you get a great view of them from up front here. I've read reviews that have described these seats pretty harshly, from coffins to bananas, and yes, they are certainly unusual. Their narrow appearance does make them appear rather confining and with a lack of decent amount of width, but in fact the 22 inches offered here is actually 2 inches wider than the upper class in the brand new A350-1000s, although the Airbus ones look much better designed and face the window, unlike these that inexplicably face away from the window. So to enjoy those fabulous views you pay much less for further down the airplane, you have to have the neck rotation capabilities of an owl, or have the ligamentous laxity of a circus contortionist, neither of which sadly I have. All of these petty grumbles are meaningless, of course, when in the context of what I saw from the window shortly after takeoff. That terrifying thing resembling a giant sky cauliflower of doom was the smoke cloud of a huge wildfire burning on Sourdough Mountain in the North Cascades National Park, caused by a lightning strike at the end of July, and at the time of this edit, 31st of August, it was the size of 6,200 acres and it was only 30% contained. We send our best prayers and thoughts for the ongoing operation to contain this fire and those affected by it. Okay, back to the review. The footrest is perfectly placed for a 5'11" person like me, and there's a seatbelt on there in case you want a friend to sit facing you for conversation, eating together or staring longingly into each other's eyes. Well, we didn't do any of that, but you could. There's buttons on your left to recline the seat, which worked well, as rather cheekily demonstrated by Helen here. But to convert it into a lie flatbed takes more than a button press. More about that in a few minutes. There's also a chronic lack of cubby storage space for your stuff too, and this was what I was most disappointed with, to be honest. I had to spend the entire flight with my iPad, phone, AirPods and camera wedged beside me on the seat. There's a very narrow pocket that's already full with Virgin's various safety cards and magazines, etc. A small rear shelf for a drink and a space under the footrest to shove everything else that you don't mind being on the floor. There's a handy little night light by the tiny drinks shelf, and hidden in the barely usable slotty pocket thing is a useful power socket. Well, it would be useful if you had space to plug anything in it, but the stuff already in the barely usable slotty pocket gets in the way. You can't easily use storage and power, it seems. Your table was accessible by pressing this button and appeared from a slot near your legs. It was large, fairly sturdy, and slid easily back and forth, making getting out of your seat while you were still using it a breeze. We flew from Seattle to London Heathrow on this 787-9, and for all long-haul flights I take my trusty iPad full of movies and TV rather than rely on the hit-and-miss offerings of the IFE, in-flight entertainment. Virgin supply you with these over-ear noise-cancelling headphones, which are nowhere near as noise-cancelling as my AirPod Pros, so I tend not to use them at all. I also take my trusty old but extremely portable and light Shure wired earphones, which, although not noise-cancelling, do a great job of cutting out background noise. Anyway, that said, the IFE system is chock to the brim of decent content, and I found plenty to watch as an alternative to my iPad. The screen is small by comparison to other premium airline seats, being a measly 11.1 inches and attached and articulated by this rather clunky fat arm. These definitely haven't aged well, especially considering the new A350s have massive 18.5-inch screens. Nestled in this rather un-Virgin brown casing is a single USB Type-A socket, and the wired handheld controller is pretty standard stuff, and again, starting to look its age. Now to the goodie bag, which is recyclable rather than reusable, and that can be viewed as both a positive and a negative. Environmentally conscious or penny pinching? What do you think? Leave us a comment. Let's take a look inside, ably showcased by the lovely Helen, the beauty and brains behind Visit With Us. What's in the bag doesn't seem any more upper class than what's in a similar bag in premium economy. A few extra Wren toiletries, which are nice, but perhaps they could do something more upmarket here to compete with other business class and above airlines. Wi-Fi is also not free. We never use it anyway on a flight, but even so, the ability to do so without additional cost would be useful to many, I'm sure. Dining in upper class is where you should really notice the difference from premium economy, and I'm happy to say there is quite a lot to love here. Bubbles on boarding is just the start, and this ruby sipper went down a treat. Cocktails are premium and pre-made from Grey Goose, my fave vodka, and Salcombe Gin, a delightfully premium West Country tipple. Wine is equally as pleasing, and we were both surprised to see our favourite Whispering Angel on the list. Of course, it had to be done. The holy trinity of upper-class refreshment. A G&T, Whispering Angel and salt and vinegar crisps. A leisurely perusal of the menu while sipping bubbles felt quite like we'd finally hit peak upper, and all the little quibbles bugging me about the seat melted away. Soon the tablecloths were wafted onto our tables, and it was time to dine the upper-class way. I could quite get used to this. The cutlery was full-size stainless steel as you would expect, and the appearance of the iconic Wilbur and Orville salt and pepper shakers was a delight. Not only are you encouraged to take these home as a small memento, They even have the words "pinched from Virgin Atlantic" inscribed on their feet. Being a fine, upstanding citizen of Earth, I wouldn't think of pinching anything, but Paul, the lovely cabin manager, kindly gave me a couple of sets to give away in an upcoming prize draw. Yep, stay tuned, condiment receptacle collectors. The warm cheese-topped rolls were deliciously Moorish, and that was followed by the burrata for Helen and the poached shrimp cocktail for myself. We both chose the crispy coated chicken breast for mains, although we felt it wasn't the best choice in hindsight. The description sounded better than the food transpired, but it was good, but not as upper as the previous course. Desserts though, oh my, the warmed pineapple, chocolate and coconut bread pudding was divine, as was the chocolate cup, which was literally a cup made from chocolate filled with more chocolate. Although my taste buds urged me to ask for another, my exploding insulin levels warned me against it. Fast forward to breakfast, served about an hour before landing. The bacon roll Helen had was so delicious she'd virtually inhaled it before I could film it. My full English was tasty too, but it could have done with a bit of fried bread or toast to add a bit of crunch. Oh, I've got one of these mugs to give away too, so don't forget to watch our YouTube live for more details. The seats in upper class convert into a fully lie-flat bed, although you can't do this yourself, but the cabin crew will make the bed up for you on request. You have a little mattress topper underneath a proper duvet, which is far nicer than just a standard issue blanket. So far so good. Before the beds were made, we were offered a pair of pyjamas. The PJs were nice and soft, but they only came in one size, which was large stroke extra large. Which wasn't really one size, was it? Is this an opinion-based size? It would have been nice to have some sort of Virgin Upper Class branding a bit more prominent too. So if you took them home and wore them around the house, the Amazon delivery drivers would think you were dead posh. And where were the accents of red? They weren't just very virgin. Anyway, let's talk about the bed. When you're in it, all wrapped up in that cosy duvet, strapped down like the last loony in the asylum, it's actually rather pleasant. The beds are very firm though, and could have done with a little extra padding. When everyone's asleep, the upper glass cabin looks like a scene from a dystopian sci-fi movie, like the start of Avatar, where everyone's in a hibernation pod in deep space. Let's talk about what we consider to be the highlight of Virgin's upper class, the cabin crew. These lovely people were nothing short of fabulous. They were friendly, helpful, always on hand, and always willing to get you something or check that you were okay. It's been said before on many other reviews, but it needs saying again. They're an absolute credit to Virgin. Full marks here, plus a few more. As we begin our final approach to London Heathrow, let's give you a quick summary of our overall thoughts. Opportunities like this for us come along about as often as Richard Branson's seen without his huge toothy grin, so naturally, we're going to be thrilled with it all just because we're not suffering from leg cramps and having some stranger snoring in your ear and dribbling on your shoulder while your bladder goes into full meltdown because you're too nice to try and squeeze past them to get to the loo. But what exactly is upper class? Is it first class? Is it business class? A bit of both? A lot of neither? We would honestly pitch it as mostly business class with invasive touches of premium economy. The layout of the cabin has always been controversial amongst the well-heeled airborne aristocracy. The herringbone arrangement means if you're not on the right-hand window side, the port side to our nautical viewers, you're facing a stranger right across the hall from you. That's a bit weird when you're used to facing forward. The staff really takes this experience up several notches. They are simply the best cabin crew we have ever experienced, and they would be the reason we would consider this category again. However, Virgin Atlantic's premium economy is so good, the price uplift would have to be very small to tempt us into upgrading, which is exactly what we did on this flight. We secured these seats with a bid of £490 each on top of our already good value premium economy fare, which is a substantial saving over the published fare and still cheaper overall than flying British Airways' quite ordinary premium economy in some 20-year-old 777. This review would have probably been placed a notch or two above its final level if we had the opportunity to use the clubhouse at Heathrow Terminal 3, which apparently is a huge part of the experience, with its own check-in section, security area, and of course the huge clubhouse itself. We're aware that we've missed quite a big chunk of the overall experience. But as a flight-only assessment, because we came into Heathrow from Seattle, we only think it's worth paying extra if you can get a great deal, and it's not too much more than premium economy. Otherwise, you'd be better off taking the premium economy option, which in our view is very much the sweet spot in the Virgin Atlantic experience. Now you've watched this, please click on these to see what premium economy and economy delight are like for comparison.